This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about the various DML statements. So like we have discussed about the delete statement, and we have discussed about undelete statement, and we have discussed about merge statement. Now, so now let's see how can we perform upset operation. How to perform upset operation, we'll see with the practical. So now tell me, what do you mean by upset operation? Update plus insert. Then, as of now, in order to update the records, we are using update statement, and to insert the records, we are using insert statement. So we are using these two statements separately. Like we are using this update statement, we are using insert statement. Suppose, for example, I have an object. So this is some lead object. It may be standard or custom object, anything. In my lead object, I would like to update few records. I want to update 10 records. I want to update 10 records inside my lead object. And now I want to insert 4 more records also inside my lead object. I want to insert 4 records. So whatever the existing records are available, from those existing records, 4 records I would like to update, and sorry, the 10 records I would like to update, and 4 records I would like to insert new. In this case, what we are doing, in order to update the records, we are using this update statement separately. That means one DML statement. And to insert the records, we are using one more DML statement. So totally, we are using two DML statements. Okay, we are using two DML statements. But whenever we are going to be performing the DML operations inside your Salesforce object, Salesforce has given the limitation within a single transaction, we can able to use a maximum of 150 DML statements, not more than. So that here, instead of wasting this DML statements into inside this transaction, instead of using two DML statements, we can perform both the operations just with the help of one single DML statement itself. So that we can save one DML statement, and that DML statement we can use for different operations. Now, so in this case, whenever if you want to perform both update and insert operation, just we can able to use the help of Upsert. We can able to use this operation Upsert. We can use this operation Upsert. So whatever the records you are trying to update, whatever the records you are trying to insert, so both the records we are going to be placing inside a single collection. Now, this is a single collection I am going to be performing into my lead object. So instead of using two DML statements, just with the help of a single DML statement itself, we can perform the operations. So that we can reduce one DML statement, we can save the DML statement, which we can use for further operations as well. Okay? Now, now in this case, now tell me. So whatever the records you are trying to update, whatever the records you are trying to insert, both the records we are placing inside a single collection. Both the records we are placing inside a single collection. Now tell me how this upset operation will differentiate which record needs to be inserted, which records needs to be updated. How it will differentiate these records based on record ID. If the record contains ID, then records will be updated. If the record doesn't have any ID, those records will be inserted into the object. So based on the record ID, it will differentiate the records. So based on those records, it will do the operations, okay, on my records just with the help of a single DML statement itself. Okay. Now make a note of this one. Then how can we do this operation? We'll see with a practical use case. Upsert operation. By using this operation, we can perform both update and insert operations inside the object by using a single DML statement. By using a single DML statement. We have to place all the records inside the collection. All the records we have to place inside a collection and perform the upsert operation on the collection of records. Upsert statement will differentiate the records based on record ID. If the record contains ID, then it will update the record in the object. If the record doesn't have the ID, then it will insert the record. Syntax. Upsert only one record. In that case, we can specify upsert the record reference name. If you want to perform this operation on multiple records, we can specify upsert the collection name. By using database class. Database.upsert, we can specify the collection name and a boolean parameter which returns a result in the form of database.upsert result array. Done with the syntax? Now. So now let's take a small use case now. I'm going to my Salesforce arc. Now I'm going to my application. I would like to go to my case object now. I want to see all cases. So these are the 27 case records are available, okay, inside my object. 27 case records are available. Let's see the status based on the status. So now, when you observe these case records inside my case object here, we have four cases are available which are having the status equals to new. We have four new cases are available. For these cases, the priority is low. Right now, it is having the priority as low. Now, my requirement is whatever the cases are available, whose status is equals to new, for those cases, I want to give high priority. I want to update the priority value as high. So in this case here, I would like to use a small use case. I want to update these new case records by assigning the priority as high. And along with this updating these four records, I want to insert one more new case record also inside my case object. So total 5 records I would like to process. 4 records I would like to update, 1 record I would like to insert. But all these 5 records I would like to process by using one single DML statement itself. I don't want to use two DML statements. One is for update, one is for insert. I want to use a single DML statement. Then, how can we do this upsert operation? Now, let's see with the practical use case. Okay, now make a note of this requirement. Write an Apex program to update the priority as high for all new case records and insert a new case record inside the object and insert a new case record inside the object. I want to update the records and I want to insert the records both. Done with this? Now, let's see how can we perform these operations. I'm going to the developer console. So let me go to this class and I would like to prepare a new method. I want to prepare a new method, public static void upsert case records. Upsert case records. Now, first of all, I would like to update these records. Update the case records. Second one, I would like to insert a new case record. Now, so now first of all, let me collect those records whose status is equals to new. So I'm using list collection, list of case, lst cases equals to select the ID of the case number, status, priority, origin from case object. From case object where status equals to new. So whatever the case records are available whose status is equals to new, I'm collecting those case records. Those records I'm storing into my collection. So now in this case, I would like to check whatever the case status that I have supplied with this status case records may be there, may not be there. No guarantee here. In that case here, I would like to check this collection. If the collection is empty or not. If LST cases is not empty. If the collection is not empty, that means there are some matching case records are available whose status is equals to new. So now I would like to iterate this collection for each and every case record from LST cases. Whatever the case records are available inside my collection, I would like to iterate those collection of case records. Now I'm collecting each and every case record. For each case record, I would like to update the priority as high. I'm going to update the case priority as high. So once a case record has been assigned with this new value for the priority, what needs to be done? I would like to update it back to the database. But I directly don't want to use update statement over here. I want to update these records along with the new record also. So that to store all these records, I'm preparing a separate collection. List of cases to Upsert equals to new list of case. So in order to hold all these case records, I'm going to be using a separate collection. In this collection, I would like to add the record. Add the record to collection. So I'm indicating cases to upset dot add. So whatever the case record that we have assigned with the new value, that case record I would like to add to my collection over here. Clear? Next. Now I want to create a new case record. I'm creating the object of this case class. Case record, some CS record equals to new case. Now supply the values for the required fields. Whatever the fields are available for those fields, supply these values. Case record dot status. I'm giving the status as working. Priority. I'm giving as medium. Origin. I'm giving the value as phone. Type. It's a mechanical problem. Case reason. I'm giving the value as it's a performance issue. Case subject. I'm passing this as subject over here. My newly purchased printer is not working. Case description. I would like to specify dear customer support. Recently, I have purchased a brand new model of printer, that means a color printer. While printing the documents, it is keep on rebooting. Now, could you please look into the issue and resolve the issue as soon as possible? Thanks and regards. I'm giving these details. I'm passing the values for the case records. I'm passing the status value, priority, origin, type, reason, subject, description. Once the case record is ready, I want to insert. But directly, I don't want to insert by using a separate insert statement. So already we are maintaining one collection over here. In this collection, I would like to add this record. Already, whatever the four case records are available, which are having the status equals to new, those four case records we have added to the collection here. Along with these four case records, I'm adding this new case record also over here. Cases to upset dot add of case record. Okay, all the case records are available inside that collection. The records which you are trying to update, those records will be placed in the collection. The records which you are trying to insert, those records are also placed in the collection. So all the records are available inside this collection. Now I would like to perform the upsert operation. Upsert the records. For that one, I would like to check the condition. If cases to upsert is not empty, that means if the collection is not empty, then I would like to use upsert cases to upsert. That's it. Over. Okay. So now in this case, I'm not using two DML statements. I'm using only one DML statement in this entire program, that is only upsert. So which will be performing both update operations, insert operations in one shot. Now here I would like to track. By end of this operation, I would like to track this. How many DML statements I have used? System.debug number of DML statements used. Then I would like to use system dot limits dot get DML statements. And how many records we have processed? Number of records processed. System dot limits dot get DML rows. That's it. Okay. So now by using this class, we are going to be tracking these results also over here. Understood the concept now? Next. Now, here we are going to be using a single collection, a separate collection we are maintaining over here. In that collection, we are going to be adding these records also, which you are trying to update. And then we are adding one more new record also, which I'm trying to insert. Once all the records are available in the collection, then we are performing upsert operation. And at the end of this operation, I would like to track how many DML statements we have used to do this operation over here. Okay. Now, let me invoke this method. I'm invoking this method DML helper dot upsert case records. Click on execute. My operation has been done. Select the debug only checkbox now Now it is indicating number of DML statements used is only one. How many records we have processed? Five records. So four records has been updated, one record has been inserted. So total five records we have processed just with the help of single DML statement. Clear? Now let me check those records now. As of now, it is having the priority low. Just to refresh this screen now. Now it is indicating all these records has been updated the priority value as high. And along with that, today we have created one more new case record also. Now, there is a case record. Whatever the case record that we have specified, this is a case record over here. You can able to see the details. Dear customer support, recently I have purchased a brand new model of color printer. Okay, while printing the documents, it is keep on rebooting. So please fix this issue here. There is a case subject in the description which I have supplied. Case number has been generated by Salesforce, that is 00001027, and this is the case status, priority, and the type, and the origin, and then reason also we have specified. We have specified that, okay, the subject in the description also. Okay, now this is how we can perform DML operations on your Salesforce object records. It may be insert, it may be update, or delete, or undelete, or upsert, or anything, whatever it might be. So this is the way we are going to perform. Okay, now understood the concept here? Now, so these are the six DML statements that we have in Apex programming. Now, we have discussed about these DML statements. We are done with insert, update, delete, undelete, upsert, and the merge. Okay, six DML statements we have discussed. By using these DML statements, we can perform the operations on either one record or multiple records also. We can insert the records, update the records, delete the records, restore the records. We can do all the operations by using these DML statements. But in this case, upon performing the DML operations on the records by using these DML statements, while performing the DML operations, okay, we have few drawbacks. We have few limitations are available here. Then what are those limitations? Now let me explain one by one. And then how to overcome these limitations through with the help of a feature called as database class methods. Then what exactly the database class? And then what is the use of database class? Why should we go for database class methods? Why can't we continue with the DML statements? What drawbacks that we have in DML statements? What limitations or what benefits that we have inside the database class methods? Let me explain one by one. Okay, now let's see. You can try. Okay, just to take two records and then try to merge by using that merge syntax. Okay, if there is an issue, let me know. Now, now, so let me show you a small problem. Okay, when coming to the DML statements. Now what I will do is I will try to insert few hiring manager records inside my object. I want to insert some bulk hiring manager records, 100 records, 150, 20, 30, whatever, anything. So let me try to insert some 30 records inside my object. Public static void insert bulk HR records. Insert bulk HR records. Now I'm using a list collection, list of hiring manager, new list of hiring manager. I'm creating the list collection because whenever if you want to insert some 50 hiring manager records, each record we can't insert by using a separate DML statement because it will be sending the request to the database server every time, which will be impacting on the database performance and our application performance also ultimately. So for that reason, I would like to follow the bulkification mechanism. So in that case, instead of inserting each record separately one by one, one by one, whatever the 50 records I'm trying to insert, I will prepare the record and place into the collection. Once all the 50 records has been prepared and stored into the collection, then okay, once all the 50 records are available in the collection, I want to insert this collection of records into my object at a time. So that we are using this bulkification mechanism here. Now, to hold those multiple records, I have prepared a list collection of hiring manager records. Now, tell me generally, whenever we are going to be creating a new hiring manager record inside my object, what fields are mandatory? What are the mandatory fields that we have? Name is a mandatory field, contact number is a mandatory, email ID is a mandatory. That means these are the three required fields are there. Name field and then contact number, email ID. These are the three fields are required. Now I'm trying to be inserting the 50 records inside my hiring manager object in one shot. By using bulkification mechanism, I'm trying to insert 50 records inside my hiring manager object. Now, now tell me in this case, upon inserting these records for one record, okay, for one record, if I'm not passing the value for email ID field here, what will happen? Record will not be inserted here because that is a mandatory field. That record will not be inserted. What about the remaining records? Hmm. Now, let's see in this case. Let me show you with the practical what will happen. Now, I'm using a for loop. For integer, counter equals to 1, counter less than or equals to 50, counter plus plus. So now here I'm going to be iterating this collection from starting to ending over here, the for loop. So now I'm iterating this for loop from 1 to till 50 times because I want to create 50 records. In each iteration, I'm preparing one hiring manager record. Hiring manager HR record equals to new hiring manager. I'm creating the object of this hiring manager class, and then I would like to supply the value. HR record dot name. I'm indicating this value over here. Bulk HR hyphen counter. HR record dot contact number. I'm passing some value. Email address. Bulk HR plus counter plus @gmail.com. Like as bulk HR1 @gmail.com, bulk HR2 @gmail.com, like that up to 50. HR record dot location. Location is some Kochi. Designation. I'm indicating this value, like for example, HR executive. Current CTC, that is some 9 lakhs. Now, any other fields? We have supplied the name, location, employment type also available here. Employment type, permanent. Now, once the record is ready with the required values, we are adding the record to the collection. LST HR records dot add of HR record. Here I would like to check if LST HR records is not empty. That means if the collection is not empty, then I would like to insert collection of records in one shot. This is what the normal piece of code here. In order to insert 50 hiring manager records, I have written this piece of code. I have prepared a list collection over here, which can able to hold all these 50 records. And then I'm using a for loop. The for loop will be iterating from 1 to till it is reaching to 50 times. Every time the value will be incrementing by 1. And then I'm in each and every iteration, I'm preparing one record over here, one hiring manager record by passing the name value, contact number, email ID, location, designation, current CTC, and the employment type. So we are passing all the values, we are adding the record to the collection over here. Once all the records has been added to the collection, then I'm checking that if the collection is not empty, if the collection is having some records, then I'm inserting the collection of records in one shot. Okay. Now, fine. Now let's come to this scenario. For example, here I'm adding a small condition. If counter value not equals to 48, I'm writing a small condition. What it means? Hmm. Okay. Hmm. If counter value not equals to 48, then that means what? Except this of 48th record, for the remaining all the records we are passing email ID values. Only for the 48th record, I'm not passing the value for email field over here. Okay, only for 48th record. That means for the first 47 records, I'm passing email ID as it is. For 48th record, I'm not passing email ID. For 49 and 50th record, we are passing email ID as it is over here. Except this 48th record, remaining all the records contains email ID values. That means what I'm doing, I'm not passing the value for one of the record for mandatory field. I know that email ID is a mandatory field in hiring manager object. If I'm not passing the value for that particular field, record cannot be inserted. Now, in this case, I'm trying to be inserting some bulk records, 50 records inside the object. In those 50 records, if one record operation has been failed, what will happen here? I would like to track. Will it simply cancel that particular record operation, or will it be canceling the whole transaction? I would like to check it out. So now in this case here, I would like to okay ignore the passing the value for one of the mandatory field for only one record. Only for 48th record, I'm not passing the value for email ID field. Clear up to this one? Now, let me try to execute this piece of code. Now, so before that, let me check how many records are available inside my object over here. System.debug. Now, before that, let me check how many number of records are available in hiring manager. How many records are available? 262. Okay. Now, let me try to execute this piece of code. I'm invoking this. Execute highlighted. What happened in this case? What is the message? Now, it is indicating that system.dml exception insertion failed. First exception, okay, raised on, okay, 47. And then that is required field missing. So now it is indicating that required fields are missing, that is email ID. Now, why it is showing this value 47? Because I'm not passing the value for 48th record. Why it is showing 47? I have added the condition if that counter value not equals to 48. Why it is showing this value? Okay, first exception on row 47. Why not 48? It is not giving that confirmation. It is giving that first exception on row 47. Error is on 47. But the record is 48. Why it is showing 47 now? Think. Right. Then. Right. Basically, whatever the records we are trying to insert, all these 50 records where we have placed inside the list collection. In list collection, all the 50 records has been placed. How can we identify each record from the list collection? By using index position. Index will be starting from where? 0. So for 48th record, I did not pass a value for email ID field. 48th record is available at what index position? 47. That's what it is showing this message here. The first exception on row 47. Okay. The problem is required field missing over here. That means that record is unable to insert whatever the remaining records here. The previous 47 records are inserted successfully or not. Let me check it out. Now let me execute this piece of code to get the count of records. What is the count? Still same. That means what? When coming to the DML statements, whenever we are trying to be performing the DML statements are purely atomic statements. These are purely atomic statements. Atomic means what? One. Atom in the sense only one. So now in this case here, whenever you are trying to be performing the DML operations inside your object, so each DML statement is an atomic statement. Because every DML statement, upon processing some 50 records, it maintains a transaction. Each DML statement will maintain a transaction. So now in this case, what do you mean by a transaction? Transaction is nothing but a logical container. Transaction is nothing but a logical container which contains a collection of operations inside that. Transaction is nothing but a logical container which contains a collection of operations inside that. So now in this case, transactions are purely supporting ACID properties. Transactions are purely supporting ACID properties. Atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. These are the four principles of a transaction. Okay, atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. These are the four principles of, okay, the transaction. The first principle is what? Atomicity. What do you mean by this atomicity? When coming to the transaction, the whole transaction will be considering like as a single operation over here. Now, in this case here, it should be atomic always. Atomic means what? Only one. That means whatever the operations we are performing inside this transaction, okay, this transaction should be having only one result, either success or either cancel, not partial. Like as some we have processed, some we have failed, not like that. Like for example, assume that I have given 5 exams here. In 5 exams, in one exam I got failed. In the remaining 4 exams, I have scored more than 90% marks. What will be my result then? Fail. Even though if you are failing in one exam, the total result will be fail. In the remaining 4 exams, you may get some 90% mark, 95% marks also. In one exam, you got failed, so the total result will be fail. Here also the same functionality. We don't have the two results here. Only one result, either success or fail, either pass or fail, not partial here, not both. So now in this case here also, when coming to the transaction will be having only one possible result. That means atomic, only one result, either success or fail. That means either commit or roll back. Committing means what? Saving permanently into the database. Rollback means what? Cancel all the previous operations. Okay. Committing means saving permanently into the database, and the rollback means cancel all the previous operations. When it will commit inside the transaction, whatever the operations we are doing, if all the operations are successful, it will commit the transaction here. If any of the operation is failed, it will cancel all the previous operations. Now, in this case here, let's see. Now, under this transaction, it is inserting this 50 records. First record inserted, second record inserted, third record inserted, like that, 47 record inserted. But 48th record has been failed. Whenever if any of the record is failed, all the previous 47 records will be getting cancelled automatically here, because all the operations should be completed successfully or all the operations has to be cancelled over here. This is the first problem. Because of one record failure, remaining all the operations will be getting cancelling. This is a problem when coming to that DML statements. Okay, when coming to the DML statements are purely atomic statements where each DML statement internally using an implicit transaction. Because of this implicit transaction, upon processing the records, if any of the record operation is failed, then the whole transaction will get rolled back automatically. All the operations will be getting cancelled. Okay, this is the problem here. This is the first problem. Next, second problem here. As part of this DML statements, I want to allow partial processing mechanism. I want to allow partial processing mechanism. What do you mean by partial processing mechanism? Whenever I'm going to be inserting some records inside my object here. Now, let me explain. What is partial processing mechanism? Whenever I'm inserting some 50 records inside my object here. Now, first record inserted, second record inserted, third record inserted. Like that, okay, 42 records inserted. Upon doing this 43 records insertion, it has been failed. In that case, don't cancel all the previous record, just skip this record. That means ignore this record, continue with the remaining records as it is. 44th record, process. 45th record, process. 47th record, 46th record, process. 47th record, again failed. 48th record, failed. 49th record, process. 50th record, process. Like that. That means what? Whenever I'm trying to be performing the operations on the records, in the middle of the processing, if any of the record operation has been failed, then don't cancel the whole transaction. Just skip that record, ignore that record, and continue with the remaining records as it is. This kind of mechanism I want. This is called as partial processing mechanism. This is called as partial processing mechanism. Okay, now. So now in this case, when we try to do this kind of operations in DML statements won't support. DML statement doesn't support any partial processing mechanism here. Always it is using transaction management inside this. This is the second problem here. Third problem. Third problem is DML statements won't provide any proper tracking mechanism. Once operations has been done, what records are inserted successfully, what records are failed, why the record is failed, I would like to track all the records operations results. But DML statements won't provide any such kind of tracking mechanism. This is the third major problem that we have in DML statements. So, upon performing the DML operations on the records by using DML statements, we have these three limitations and the three drawbacks are available. First drawback is DML statements are purely atomic statements where each DML statement operation will be running under the control of transaction management. Because of that, if any of the record operation is failed, the whole transaction will be getting rolled back automatically here. Okay, now the second problem is DML statements won't support any partial processing mechanism. As part of partial processing mechanism, upon processing the records, it may be insert or update or delete, whatever, anything. I'm not talking about specific operation. It may be anything. Whenever I'm performing the operations on the records, if any of the record operation is failed, just I want to ignore that record, I want to cancel that record, I want to continue with the rest of the records as it is. But DML statements won't support such kind of partial processing mechanism. This is the second problem. Third problem is DML statements won't provide any proper tracking mechanism. That means we can't track the results of the records operations which we have processed here. These are the three limitations or three drawbacks that we have in DML statements. Now, to overcome these drawbacks, to overcome these limitations, Apex programming provides an alternative. It provides an extension mechanism that is called as a database class. We have database class. So basically, database is a ready-made class which has been given by Apex programming by default. Database is a ready-made class which has been given by Salesforce by default as part of Apex programming, which is used to interact with your Salesforce objects through programming. Through programmatically, if you want to interact with your Salesforce objects, then we can go with the help of database class. Now, by using this database class, we can interact with your Salesforce objects and we can perform all the DML operations as well. So, in order to do this DML operations, whatever the functionalities or whatever the methods are required, all the methods are available inside this database class in the form of static methods. Database class provides a collection of static methods which we can access directly by using class name dot method name. By using that method, we can able to perform the DML operations on your object records. Whatever the 6 DML operations we have discussed till now, the same operations we can do with the help of database class methods also. But the specialty is in this DML statements, whatever the three limitations we have identified, those three limitations we can overcome with the help of database class methods. Through database class methods, we can enable partial processing mechanism. That means I want to inform to the Salesforce runtime, boss, upon performing the operations on this collection of records, don't maintain any transaction, don't cancel the operations. If any of the record is failed, just you can ignore that record, continue with the rest of the records as it is. And at the end of these operations, I would like to find out totally how many records we have processed. From out of those records, how many records has been processed successfully, how many records has been failed. I want a tracking mechanism also over here. I want a tracking mechanism to track each record operation result, whether my current record operation is successful or failed. If it is successful, how? If it is failed, why? What is the reason behind that? I want that failure reason also would like to track. So all those details we can able to track by using some ready-made classes given by Salesforce as part of this database class. Then how can we use this database class methods? We'll see one by one. Okay, clear up to this one? Now, make a note of this one. While performing the DML operations on the records by using DML statements, we have the below limitations. First one, DML statements are purely atomic statements. DML statements are purely atomic statements. That is, each DML statement will maintain an implicit transaction by default. Hence, while processing the records, if any of the record operation has been failed, then it will roll back the completed transaction. It will roll back the complete transaction. That is, it will cancel all the previous operations. Second one, DML statements won't support partial processing mechanism. That is, while processing the records, if any of the record operation fails, then it should ignore the record and continue with the rest of the records as it is. Third one, DML statements won't provide the proper tracking mechanism to track the result of each record operation. Now, to overcome the above limitations, we have to use the help of database class. Done with this? Now, database is a built-in class provided by Salesforce which is used to interact with the Salesforce subjects through programming, and we can perform all the DML operations on the records. It provides the below static methods to be used to perform the DML operations. Database dot insert, database dot update, database dot delete, database dot undelete, database dot upsert, database dot match, database dot empty recycle bin, like that. We have so many methods are available. All the database class methods supports partial processing mechanism, and we can track each record operation result through programming. And we can track each record operation result through programming. Then how to use these methods? Okay, we'll see in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we'll be having that. Okay, how to use this database start insert method. I will show you with the practical. And as part of this, I will discuss about two methods: database start insert, database start upsert. Two methods I will discuss. Remaining will be same, no change. Okay. Now, then how to perform these operations we'll see in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we'll see the practical concept of database class. Okay. Tomorrow we are having the classroom session as usual. Day after tomorrow we'll be having the online. And from 13th we are having the holidays till 18th. Okay. 13th to 18th we are having the holidays. Now, thank you.